Just about 20 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now, the World Day of Remembrance is a worldwide event that takes place every year. It provides a platform for road traffic victims and their families to remember all people killed and seriously injured on the roads. Arrive Alive will host an event to observe Remembrance Day for road traffic victims. Joining us to talk more about this is Operations Manager at Arrive Alive, Mr. Jerome Skinner. Jerome, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Now, I know Arrive Alive as an organization has been around for a while, but just remind us who the organization is.
Sure. Arrive Alive has been in existence since 2004. It was started by a group of concerned citizens who were really worried about the number of fatalities happening on the road, the carnage that was happening on the roads. And they formed the NGO that is now Arrive Alive. It is a non-governmental, non-profit organization. I have to say that very clearly.
Why is it important to stress that?
Because I guess a lot of people have the impression that we are part of the government. Don't get me wrong, we do work with the government.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of whoever's in power, at the end of the day, if we're really concerned about the state of the roads, the lives lost on the roads, the injuries happening on the roads, we have to work with whoever's in power to encourage them to do what is necessary to ensure we have a safe road environment.
Now, what is this year's theme, and how is Arrive Alive using the day to sort of bring that awareness to what we're seeing on the roadways?
Okay, so the World Day of Remembrance Road Traffic Victims, firstly, is a global day, right? It's recognized by the UN World Health Organization. We've been doing a commemoration of the World Day of Remembrance for a number of years. This year is, I would say, no different, but kind of the same at the same time.
Yes.
Because it's the first time we're able to do an in-person event since the pandemic. What we're doing this year, we're having a long-distance cycle ride. We're encouraging cyclists to start at different points in Trinidad. We're starting a group from the Jean Pierre Complex, some from City Mall, some from Bankers Insurance in Chagonas, and some from Manny Ramjohn Stadium in Marabella. And they're all going to ride and converge on the National Cycling Center in Couva. Right now we have a lot of cyclists lined up, raring to go, especially with the loss of that cyclist earlier this year. So, you know, it's something that from their perspective and from ours as well, we see in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a lack of respect for the vulnerable road users, not only cyclists, but pedestrians as well. Motorcyclists, we don't respect them on roads, unfortunately. What this day is all about is highlighting the need for safer road environments, while also remembering those that have been lost. So the other part of what we're doing is we're doing an intimate brunch for the families who have lost loved ones, as well as some of the survivors.
Right.
Gives them an opportunity to fellowship, I guess. Interact with other people who may have experienced similar loss, similar trauma, because undoubtedly it is a traumatic experience to lose someone in that way. You know, we don't expect it. You just told them goodbye,
and
I'll see you later.
you might get the phone call, which
and
is
then you get a phone call, right?
Yeah.
Or worse,
Or
you
worse.
had an argument, so
Yes.
you had some sort of a disagreement,
Yeah.
and you're never able to reconcile that.
Now, when is the event taking place?
So the event is on the 20th of November, Sunday the 20th of November, which is this Sunday coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And how can you register or even get more information?
Sure, you can visit our social media, Facebook and Instagram at Arrive Alive TT. You can also give us a call, 675-LIVE, 675-5483. Or you can visit our website as well. There's more information there too.
So to register, you need to pay to register? How does registration work?
It's completely free. It's completely free.
Okay.
Like I said, we work alongside various agencies. We've gotten a lot of support from the TTPS in this respect. So they're providing us with outriders to the venue and back. So we make sure that the ride is safe. We're also getting some support from the fire service with their ambulances. So yeah, we're going to have a huge event. We want to have a safe event, most importantly.
Most important.
Yeah, that's.
So is it that single riders could come, or can you come in groups? So is it possible to get T-shirts and teams, or how exactly is it going to unfold?
So what we are encouraging the clubs in
Right.
particular, because the clubs have that experience riding on the road and covering that type of distance. Single riders, we're not discriminating. We want to include everybody.
Yeah.
Just have to keep in mind that distance. I mean, for example, that Jean Pierre Complex ride is 40 kilometers. Yeah, I got a little bike and I fixed it up during COVID and I started riding, but I could barely make 5 kilometers, much less for 40, right?
Yeah.
And that's one way. You still have to make that 40-kilometer ride back.
So you all are going to the cycling center in Couva and going back to the original starting point?
Correct.
The various starting points. So if you came from Jean Pierre, go back to Jean Pierre, came from another one. Wow, okay.
And understanding that could be a challenge if you don't have the legs fit.
Yes.
We are also doing a solidarity walk, run, ride at the velodrome itself. That will start at 7 a.m. sharp.
Right.
We have a nice little course set out. It's about 2 kilometers, maybe just below 2 kilometers. So even if you are a novice cyclist or the kids want to get involved, it's the perfect opportunity because it is a closed course. We're going to have marshals there. Perfect opportunity for them to get out and get involved.
Yeah. So, normally they have like half marathons. You all are not encouraging to go halfway. You want them to have that kind of stamina to make it and go back.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. That is really important because while we're taking every safety precaution that we can, we are aware that if that group starts spreading out and you have stragglers, there is that risk because they don't have that protection of the police or the support vehicles.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure people keep together because it's not a race. It is a casual ride. It's not a race, it's a casual ride. Same thing with that around the velodrome, that course. It's not a race, right? It is, again, in solidarity with those families, those that we have lost on the nation's roads.
Now, earlier in the conversation, you were talking about that respect for cyclists. Do you think the solution of that cycling lane is important, or does it take more than that to ensure that our cyclists are safe on the roadways?
So when it comes to cyclists, pedestrian rights, I think part of it is infrastructure. That is a huge part of it. But also the other side of it, there's two sides of the same coin. You need to have that education as well, not only for cyclists but for drivers. I mean, I've seen so many trolls on the social media talking about cyclists need to get off the road and the road is for cars and things like that. But the reality is we all have a right to use the roads. Yeah, in the eyes of the law, actually, a bicycle is considered a vehicle. So cyclists do have a right to the road. Now, in other countries, you see it a lot in the US, the UK, Canada, Europe. You have a lot of Australia as well. You have a lot of cycle lanes, so they've separated the traffic. So you have fewer negative interactions between cyclists, pedestrians, and motor vehicles.
And what about those who also say that cyclists should have on the I forgot what you call it, but the kind of fluorescent lights so that people can see them, in traffic and that sort of thing.
That is always encouraged. That's one of the things one of the things Arrive Live does, we do a lot of education from preschool right up to tertiary level, corporate TNT, community groups. We teach everybody, right?
Of course.
And it's one of the things that we talk about. We see my reflective T-shirt today, right?
Reflectors, that is the word,
yeah,
yes.
my very bright reflective T-shirt is a perfect example. You want to wear something that makes you visible. Yeah, makes you visible so that drivers can see you. A driver cannot avoid something he cannot see.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So you want to be visible.
Now, I know that the World Day Remembrance, the theme, it was harping on justice. And I wanted to get
Yes.
your view on that because I know that in most of these cases, it's hit and run. Nobody stops. There's an investigation that's launched sometimes, and then nothing comes out of it. What do you think about that? Do you think, of course, your answer will be more can be done, but how can more can be done to support the families who would have lost loved ones as a result of a road traffic incident?
Okay, so one of the things that we are lobbying for constantly is that justice must be swift. Every time these families have to get these calls about an investigation, it rehashes all those emotions and that trauma. A lot of these families are not able to get that closure. I spoke with a cyclist who lost his brother, who was a national cyclist, on the road several years ago. He says it's been 8 years, and the matter has still not been closed. So it's very important that these things need to be dealt with swiftly. I saw a newspaper article just yesterday, as a matter of fact, with some people being compensated for the loss of their loved one on the nation's roads from 2016, but those were civil suits. Right? I'm not sure what the state is with the criminal proceedings, if there were any criminal proceedings. So it is something that needs to be dealt with expeditiously.
And how does Arrive Alive as an organization support the families who would have lost relatives?
Sure. So one of the things, like I talk about that trauma. So one of the things that we do is we offer psychological help, right? Grief counseling. Sometimes it's maybe one person in the family, the mother or the father. Or, a lot of times it's the entire family that's affected. So we make sure we have that option for them. One of the other things that we've done a lot of, especially coming out of the pandemic, we help with some grocery hampers on a monthly basis. Because we recognize that a lot of times the person that is lost on the roads is a breadwinner.
Yeah. So, of course, Arrive Alive would be finding ways to help these families.
Correct. Because,
Mrs.
I mean,
Skinner.
it's hard enough dealing with the trauma, the psycho-emotional damage.
Of course.
But also deal with the economic effects as well. It just compounds the issue.
Yeah. So we're going to put a pin in that, Mrs. Skinner. But let me thank you so much for coming in. And, of course, we're looking forward to the event on November 20th.
Sunday,
Remember
November
to please
20th.
go to Arrive Alive. Their social media handles. They have all the information there. And let me thank Mrs. Skinner again for coming in and sharing the information.
Thank you for having me.
You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. But stay with us because up next we have Shamla with Unique, Not Different.